We got to get back on our trailer reactions. They want us to react to the Kalki trailer 2, Kalki release trailer, Kalki trailer 4, Kalki trailer 5, Kalki character reveal.
What? No. You have to stop, all right? We're not doing any of that. We're not doing the Kalki TikTok reel. We're not doing the Kalki dance. We're not gonna do the Kalki nothing. None of that reactions. You know what we're gonna do instead? We're gonna actually review the movie, all right? You hear that? Real talk audience, we're reviewing the movie.
Let's do this.
Let's do this.
Welcome back to the Real Talk Podcast, episode 149. I'm your host, Nathan, and I'm joined by the man himself, Matthew Neves, to my left.
Thank you.
And today, we are going to be reviewing Kalki 2898 AD.
Oh my God.
The day has come. We have never gotten demand to react to trailers and just talk about this movie. So we decided, let's do the full review. We on the trailer reaction, I left a pinned comment that said if this got 1,500 likes, we'd do the full review. It got 1,500 likes in 2 days.
In an instant.
It was really quick. And here we are. And we both saw Kalki. Pretty wide release here. It was pretty easy to see here in Canada.
Mm-hmm. They got some theaters in here, so what they did was they thanked all the theater chains outside of in North America, I believe. They named all the theater chains in America, Canada, various other places. So it was really nice to see that. This has the biggest budget of any Bollywood film, I believe, Bollywood or Indian film, with 72 million converted. Yeah, which is a lot, 6 billion in that converted. Insane because of how much CGI, how much work is done on this. A lot of these actors are obviously established actors from various other films, so it's they're all coming together to build this cinematic universe, I guess you could put it. It's very much we've been reacting to a lot of these trailers within India, and a lot of them are trying to follow what North America has been doing with their cinematic universes. They've looked at the Marvel films, they've looked at other franchises, and they're like, well, why can't we do that?
Yeah, I noticed that's becoming a very popular thing in India as well, is making universes that connect, not necessarily just sequels, but universes that connect different films, which is really cool.
Yeah, I think so. Again, we've had our criticisms with the concept of cinematic universes, multiverses, and whatnot. So just because various other countries do it, they got to do something different. They got to do it better. They got to stand out from the rest, and that's where we get into this movie.
And different this movie was.
Yes.
First of all, this film is 3 hours long.
Holy shit.
Which is very long for a film like this. But they definitely pack it with action.
Yes.
I felt like the first half was a bit slow.
I agree.
If I'm being honest.
Oh, I'm with you.
I did think the premise was cool of being forced to live forever. And with him being forced to live forever as this curse.
Yeah.
And I thought his character was really cool. And then you go 6,000 years into the future.
Yeah. It was a nice little establishment of the beginning.
Yeah.
What the fuck
how
happened?
Things were in the beginning. And then they don't spend too much time with that. Boom, 6,000 years into the future. And this is the part where I'm the tone is all over the place here.
Yeah.
We get introduced to Parabas, which is... I've loved him in every trailer we've seen him in.
Yeah.
The man has style. He's got the riz. He's an action star.
Oh, he's great.
Most definitely an action star. But it was his intro scene came right after some pretty disturbing stuff. This film teeters the line of some disturbing, dark stuff. And then him joking and shit, it felt very out of place in the beginning.
I agree.
And the tonal shifts were a bit jarring to me in the beginning. I thought it was some interesting choice.
It's odd too because you go from that and you go to the little kids and the old man. The old man is part of the resistance. I'm calling it the resistance, and they try to save the day. They try to escape. He gets killed.
Yeah.
He gets killed. She gets killed. It's very disturbing stuff. The kids escape, and you're thinking, oh, we're going to follow the kids. That's pretty cool. No, it goes right into Parabas, his character, and again, it's like the Peter Quill quips.
It was very much like yeah.
And I get it, it worked in those films, but are we doing something slightly different? I felt like his introduction was very like jumpy. Like at this, like
Yeah.
you're trying to be funny, but also cool, but also you're establishing his character. I don't know if they were trying to figure it out because like we reacted to the animated prequel. Was the animated prequel going to cover a lot of what his character was in this? If so, I feel like the movie should have done a better job at establishing it on its own.
Yeah.
You can't be reliant on watching the prequel show, reading this,
That's
watching
right.
this. It's like it's what Marvel is suffering from nowadays is that it feels like homework. You're going to history class, you're going to math class. That shouldn't be the case
Yeah.
for entertainment.
Look, I understand the lore here goes really, really deep from
Yeah.
what you guys have said in the comments.
Mm-hmm.
Like we've watched the film, and I think we still understand very little. Like in the sense that I think there's a lot more about these characters' backgrounds that we don't know,
Right.
about the dynamics that we don't know. Like I think we're still a little bit ignorant. So forgive our ignorance when we call things the Resistance or
Yeah.
say the Emperor. Like,
Emperor.
we are going to relate this to like what we know, which is like Dune, Star
Yeah.
Wars, these types of films.
Yeah, and at the end of the day, like it's not like Kalki 2898 doesn't offer a lot of cool visuals and a lot of cool concepts. I
No.
feel like it does a lot that sci-fi films don't really explore as much.
Yeah.
Again, I really like the action scenes. The action scenes in Indian cinema have always stood out to me.
Always.
And it's because of how they over exaggerate a lot of these kicks, these punches, and everything like that, especially within the sci fi genre. I think it works even better.
Yeah.
I thought that was really neat. And the slow motion and the intense close ups, the more I was watching this film, the more I was like, man, they love Zack Snyder. Yeah. They fucking love Zack Snyder. There are shots in this where, from a lighting standpoint, from a choreography, I was just like,
You're right.
dude, this looks like dude, I respect that. I've heard a lot of fans of Zack Snyder's work come from India, come from Bollywood cinema because of how over exaggerated a lot of
Yeah.
those action scenes are. Very much so. So I was just thinking of that in my head. I was like, holy fuck, yeah. I mean, there's a lot of similarities, but enough that it stands on its own of its story and characters.
For sure. It's not a cheap Star Wars ripoff
No.
or a Dune ripoff. It definitely does enough to separate itself. Like you see the inspiration, certainly.
Right.
But it does more than enough to separate itself from those films, I think.
I think so too. Because as much as like I wasn't a huge fan of Prabhas's introduction, I think he's my favorite character in the movie.
Yeah, the thing is that scene, his introduction was weird and jarring because of what was before it.
Yes.
And what's immediately after it. The scene itself, he kicks some ass. It's a really funny fight scene.
Right.
And you get his charisma that he's like, really good at. But it just didn't make sense with this movie.
It's like a Phantom Menace situation where you have 5 things going on. You
Yeah.
have Prabhas's storyline, you have the kids, you have the resistance, you have the evil bad guys trying to figure out, you have the woman who who's pregnant.
Yeah.
It's like all of these things are jumbled together and the pacing does it disservice because, you have 20 minutes in and then you cut back to like the women and you're just like, "Oh yeah, shit, they're in this movie still."
Which the women's storyline I thought was so cool.
Okay, yeah.
I remembered like it made me think about like an Immortan Joe situation.
Fury Road. Yeah.
Fury Road, where he's like trying to breed the next,
Yeah.
and they're trying to extract this thing out of this woman. I thought it was a darker version of it.
Yeah, they do a lot of graphic like scenes in this film in terms of its concept. This is PG though. Like that's another thing too. Yeah, this was rated PG. I saw kids in the theater, dude. Like I don't know. Like I respect them taking chances.
Yeah.
On this sort of thing because it is quite intense with its action and yeah, a lot of characters they don't
Like
live.
the way they just discard the women after, and
Yeah,
they like
man.
the woman falls through the
Holy
chute,
fuck.
like down this river, like a literal
Just lava, fire,
garbage chute.
Holy shit, man.
I could not believe that they did that. I was like, whoa, that's
Yeah,
crazy.
that's fucking nuts, dude. I wasn't that big of a fan of that whole scene. Maybe it's because like the contrast between every other scene. I want to see more Prabhas. I want to see more of the resistance. The old man, the big old man, the tough guy or whatever. I loved him. I wish he was in it more. He comes in the second half, I believe.
Yeah, like the guy from the beginning who's like cursed to live.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And then the kids with him.
And he's played by a huge Indian actor who we've seen. Amitabh. Man,
Amitabh Bachchan.
Bachchan, yeah.
Sorry if we butchered.
And his character name is Ashwatthama in the film.
Yes.
Very memorable character.
Yeah.
I love his look. It's
man.
It's like such a badass look. I
So
love
cool.
it.
Yeah. I wanted more of him. The fucking ending too with the battles and stuff like that. I was just thinking, oh my god, like how are they gonna top this? Like, there's no way. It's so fucking huge, so big. It feels like Dune with that whole climax, and I liked how it was just focused on like getting the one girl. Like, just think of it this way: it was like all that battle, all that shit was just for like trying to grab one girl in that whole thing.
Yeah.
I thought that was an interesting concept. We never really saw that in a lot of sci-fi films, or at least this exaggerated.
Right. Yeah, the whole thing was about that one girl. That's true. It wasn't like this world's ending situation.
Yeah.
I love the Emperor scenes too. Like that. What was his character name? Kali, was it?
I think so. But like his design was really cool.
His design was really cool. Like, look, the effects here, like some are really good, I find.
Yeah.
Some are very like.
Yeah, like the what was it? When Prabis goes to the Paradise Island.
Yeah.
I was like, wait a minute, something's a little off. Like when they're like dancing and stuff. That whole sequence felt off to me.
Really out of
because I was like thinking, it's like, what is this scene trying to say other than I was here?
Yeah.
It was great. Now I'm banished. No. We have to do a dance number first before I get banished.
Yeah.
It's like, I understand, like, you want to do a dance number or whatever, but it just kind of made the runtime go a little bit longer than it needed to.
Agreed. Yeah.
There's a lot of moments like that where it's just like, do we need this scene? Do we need that scene? Felt like it established. I felt like the exposition was way too much at times.
Yeah.
When it should have just went right to the fucking point. Because that's what we want. We just want it to be right to the fucking point. Like when the woman like escapes and they grab her and they try to protect her, and that whole driving race car sequence, I loved.
Very good sequence.
I want more of that.
Yeah.
Give me more of that stuff. I thought like the resistance, the characters, some of them lived, some of them died. I love that.
Yeah.
Those moments worked much better than parts that felt unnecessary to me.
It does feel like this movie could be 2.5 hours easily.
Yeah.
If not even a little shorter.
Yeah, like
and still get the idea across, especially given the fact that, spoiler alerts, it's a part one. Clearly.
It's part one.
It's not resolved. It's actually like the bigger problem is just starting.
Yeah,
because
man.
the Emperor now has power. He was able to get a drop of that
good stuff.
the good stuff.
The good stuff.
And now he's on the creatine and he's looking good. he's looking pumped up.
He's roided up.
So the next one is going to be probably somehow even more action.
Even more intense, which I'm curious about. I don't know what they're going to do with it. I hope it's not longer than this.
You don't need to.
Don't need to do that.
I'm hoping that this was like, okay, you need to set up the world. There is a lot going on here. Like you said, there's 5 things going on.
Yeah.
That you need to cut to. But now we get it.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that the next one could definitely be a lot more concise.
Yeah, like another thing too is a lot of people are like, "Oh, you're just complaining about the runtime," even though there's a ton of Bollywood Indian films that are 3 hours long. I agree. RRR is 3 hours, but it goes by so fucking fast, and it's so much more interesting. You care more about the characters because of the fact that there isn't 5 things going on.
Yeah.
It's just the 2 best friends. They're reunited, and they're trying to like. It's simple that way. And the reason why I'm comparing it to RRR is I believe one of the writers also worked on Kalki.
Oh, cool.
So it's not like it's too far off. I'm not just comparing one to the other just for the sake of it. It's because of the fact that both films are very expensive. I think RRR was around 70 million US as well. So you're dealing with these bigger budget films. Follow with the story. Follow with the characters. The arcs that they have. Mm-hmm. The only arc I can think of that really worked well was Prabhas's, where he's learning that he himself needs to be less cocky and more heroic in his life.
Yeah.
And that twist, I kind of like the twist where you find out that he was there from the beginning,
Yeah.
but he doesn't know. I like that. I was like, oh shit, that's why. I didn't find that cheap. I found that really effective.
Yeah.
I wish they continued more of that. Like again, like I'm not a huge fan of the first 30 minutes, first hour of this movie.
No.
I feel like if they cut out that and went further, they could have had more of him.
Yeah, because in the second half, I got no problem with the pacing. It goes by pretty quickly.
Yes.
There's, the pacing is done really well.
I agree with that.
But that first half, I'm like, didn't need all this.
I was in the theater for this, and they had an intermission text, and they cut it short, and they went right into the scene. Theaters don't do that.
Guys, the art of the intermission is a beautiful thing.
Yeah.
That needs to be revived.
It needs to.
Hey, theaters, you like money?
Yeah.
You like money? How about give me 15 minutes? Maybe I'll go buy some more popcorn. Maybe I'll go buy another drink. Maybe I'll at least be able to take a piss so I could buy another drink.
Thank you. I was fucking hungry, man. I was like, oh, at least there's an intermission, because usually a lot of films with the runtime have an intermission. Not always. Killers of the Flower Moon didn't, but that was Scorsese's intention.
Yeah.
If it's the director's intention to not have one, I'm fine with. If it is, please do not cut it short. That's what they intended. Intermission, give us 10 to 15 minutes, take a piss, get a drink, get some candy. That's what I'm not a huge fan of when this theater chain did that. And I'm assuming other theater chains have done that in the past as well, because it's still going.
Yeah.
That's just a theater criticism. That's not a movie criticism.
I'm interested to know in India if they're giving an intermission or not.
I hope so,
So
guys.
let us know. Let us know in the comments if like we got fucked, and you guys are getting intermission, or if you guys also saw this smash cut. Because if that's the case, then what was the intermission there for? Anyway?
What's the point?
Yeah,
What's
the
the
point of putting that in?
fucking point?
Also, sorry
Yeah,
to
go
cut
for
you
it.
off,
Go
but
for it.
I know a lot of Bollywood films are 3 hours plus. Is intermission a common thing in India? I'd be interested to know that.
Yeah, because in North America, we have long gone that whole intermission thing in theaters.
Those days are gone.
The only thing I read about, which was limited release, was when Zack Snyder had his Justice League cut. He released it a lot in California. They had an intermission with the soundtrack playing.
Wow.
And that's the only time
That's
I've
interesting.
noticed an intermission from a
cool.
bigger
I
budget
like
film
that.
like that. I wish more films did that. Like if Denis Villeneuve did that for the next Dune film, would have fucking loved it, man.
Yeah, that's a perfect film for an intermission.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, that's just our thoughts on that. We don't know. I love watching foreign films in theaters. I feel like, you might as well try to help out the other film industries, because it's kind of like the foreign market's so big for other big budget films like, Deadpool and Wolverine. That's going to make like $600 million in the foreign market.
Yeah.
It's definitely not reversed.
Yeah,
We're not
of
seeing
course.
North American audiences aren't seeing foreign films as much as foreign films are seeing North American films. That's the reality.
Most definitely. So
So,
shedding some light on it is cool.
Yeah.
And man, I've been having a lot of fun like watching these trailers,
Yeah.
Bollywood trailers, and learning about different film because it made me open my horizons in the sense that like I feel like I was really in a box with North American film.
right.
And I got so used to North American film style, pacing, characters.
Yeah.
And to see what's out there, I think really lets me come back to watch North American films with a little bit of a different eye and be more open.
Yeah, exactly. Like a lot of films that are reboots in America, for example, are because of the original being foreign films. So the saddest reality is a lot of producers are like, well, nobody's going to watch it because they're not speaking English. Let's just cast Chris Pratt in this
Yeah.
reboot. And it sucks because you're basically not allowing your audience to watch what the original was intended,
Right.
So I like when I see different films. Festival runs help a lot in terms of watching foreign films. I am so glad this got like an IMAX release. Kalki 2898. Like, yeah.
But it is an IMAX film. It makes perfect sense.
Absolutely. And a lot of the shots utilize that very well.
Yeah.
I still think of that car chase where like he gets out of his car and he does the superhero pose and fights the big old dude.
Yeah.
And that whole fight sequence I loved because of how exaggerated it was, how stylistic it was. Loved it.
Yeah, they do fighting right, man. They do
Yeah.
fighting right because the fight, like you said, punches, kicks, they look devastating.
Yeah.
They're out there. It's entertaining to watch.
Like I could see them. I don't know if they'll ever take that chance, but like Dragon Ball Z, if they did it, but in this style.
Yeah.
Like, I could see that. Just give it a little bit more money because it's hard. It's
hard.
super hard to make films like that. You know, superhero films or like even the Avatar movies, they're reaching 300 million. This is the most expensive. It's 72 million.
Right.
So it's like
72 million to make this film a 3-hour epic with
Yeah.
the amount of effects and set pieces that they have is very, very impressive.
no, exactly.
Also considering that they have like the biggest Indian stars in the film too. It's like
Yeah.
you got to pay them as well,
Oh,
right?
absolutely. Their paychecks are probably like
Oh, I'm
fucking
interested
huge.
to know that. That's something that we
Yeah.
haven't really researched. Like what's a guy like Parabas making for a film like this?
Yeah, I mean, he's been in tons of movies beforehand, so it's like even like Josh, he talks about Shah Rukh Khan. I'm like, dude, I don't
Shah Rukh Khan got to be making a fat check.
Oh, Garrett,
Every
he's in the
time he
millions.
shows up, yeah.
So I'm curious, and also it's harder too because it's like a lot of these foreign actors like they go into North American films as well, and that's how they get more recognition.
Yeah.
They're like, oh, who's this guy? Who's this girl and stuff like that. Let's see the other films that they're in, and that's how they get their careers like beyond just their country. They go beyond that. So. Again, like I don't think this is a bad film. I feel like there was a lot of wasted potential because of the pacing.
Sure,
I think the biggest issue is the pacing of this film. The pacing, because the lore is interesting.
Very.
The lore is interesting, but I don't know if the runtime gives it a lot of service.
No, I don't think it warrants the runtime.
Yeah.
That's the main complaint. And let us know, like, from just our trailer reaction comments, I think it's quite split. You had the Rotten Tomatoes score there, like
It has an 83 on Rotten Tomatoes, 65 on Metacritic. Most people are giving this a pretty positive.
a pretty overwhelmingly like a pretty positive rating.
Yeah.
But also, I remember people commenting about the first half being slow on if you look at our comments. Like,
Yes.
I remember people saying that the ending, the twist, is epic, which it was. It was a very memorable ending.
Yeah.
But the beginning is slow. So let us know in the comments, did this live up to the hype? Because I understand that they're setting up a next one.
Yeah.
Is this going to be a trilogy?
Trilogy, yeah.
Trilogy?
Or just a two-parter.
Or just
I don't
a
know.
two-parter?
Yeah.
That's what I'd like to know. And I know that they have the Parabas animated series that we had
Yes.
reacted to, which looked really cool. It's the same director directing that as well,
Oh, nice.
which is cool.
Okay, it's not like different crew members and
No,
stuff.
so
It's
they
the
have
same.
Parabas and they have
Nice.
the same director,
Hell
which
yeah.
is really cool. I'm sure it's gives like some cool context coming into this film.
Right, right.
How else are they planning on expanding this universe? Like if they're calling it the Kalki cinematic universe, where else are they expanding on it? Is it just like continuing to tell this story? Is it like a Dune where it's like thousands of years can pass and there's like another person? And
Yeah.
after Paul Atreides, there's another person.
Exactly.
Right? Is it like that?
Endless.
Or is it just like different stories set in that same timeline?
I would be interested in that too. Another thing that like I think not just this film but various other cinematic universes need to learn is that individual storytelling. We have to focus on that. I
Yeah.
completely understand you guys expanding your universe and going all out because it is expensive, but you can't be having so much shit happening and then at the very end of the film it's like coming soon part 2 and you're just
Yeah.
like I'm so tired. Like,
You feel no matter how exciting or grand the film is, when you sit through a 3-hour film and then you feel like they just set up something more exciting, like
yeah.
it didn't really conclude, you feel a little bit personally, I feel a little bit cheated, like damn, that's
'Cause-
not the conclusion I wanted.
A great example would be like Avengers Infinity War was not 3.5 hours long. It wasn't 3 hours. It was about 2.5, right?
Yeah.
Still long, but it was like, all right, well, we're done, but we're still continuing it. And then your very end all be all is 3 hours. That I can understand.
Totally.
You have the pacing done right. You have the character moments. You have this feeling of like, I like how this movie ended and still had a great cliffhanger.
Totally.
This one, there was a cliffhanger and you're just like 3 hours.
Yeah.
Ooh, okay, let's take a break. I needed a break after this.
For sure.
Yeah, but
Overall, final ratings, Neves.
final
Let's hear it.
final rating, I think I'm going to give this a 5 out of 10. I really think the first half was not strong enough. It
Yeah.
needed that punch. When you start your fucking movie, you got to punch it in and you got to go all out. You can't have 5 things going on at the same time because guaranteed you're not going to like all 5 of those things. You got to go simple. Should have focused right with Prabis and then built it with the other stories. Second half was fucking great. And I am curious what they do with the sequel.
Yeah. I think 5 out of 10 is good as well, just because of the pacing of it. I did in the first half. I did have a big problem with and felt like it was dragging a good amount. But I love the Ashwatthama character.
Yes.
I love Parabas's character. I love a lot of the lore. How some of it got really dark and was really cool. Some different premises explored here, but I think it could have just been done a little bit more concisely.
Yeah, I fully agree. And again, like, this can be taught through other cinematic universes
That's
and
right.
various examples. So it's not just this film that does it incorrectly.
A lot of our criticism is just a general criticism that you can give to most cinematic universes.
Yeah, and if they want to stand out more, I feel like they gotta have better pacing.
Yeah.
That's the main thing I think we both agree on.
Yeah.
Yeah, Kalki.
Kalki.
You fuckers. I am
heads.
curious. Yeah.
Yeah. Anyways, we really, what I want to say quickly, we really appreciate
Yeah.
all the support that we get on Real Talk. Like, it's always really exciting to just check our comments and see how much you guys want us to react to a certain thing or know what we have to say about like what we think about certain films.
Yeah.
It's humbling. It's a lot of fun. I have a lot of fun doing it, and I think it's cool that we're building a little community with Real Talk. It's a really cool thing.
Yeah.
I hope you enjoyed our full review. It's I don't know if we're gonna be doing this too often. Like obviously, our passion, our focus is North American film. It's what we know.
Yeah.
It's what we grew up with. It's how we fell in love with film, and that's definitely gonna be our main focus. But occasionally, if you guys really make some noise in the comments, we might do a full review of some other films in the future. So let us know. Let us know what you thought of Kalki in the comments, and keep recommending those trailer reactions, letting us know what we need to see, and we appreciate you guys. Don't forget to leave a like, comment, subscribe to your boys. If it's your first time watching the Real Talk podcast, we do movie reviews, we do trailer reactions, we have a Patreon, we have a show called Movie of the Month on there. It's like a little movie club. We pick a movie every month. We talk about it. You guys could follow along at home. It's real fun. Check us out. And leave a like, comment. We really appreciate you guys. And most importantly, take care. Brush your hair. Peace.